everybody to the 2024 Volvo V90 Cross Country. It's not a very popular body style of vehicle in North America, but I personally love the wagon or estate, depending on where you belong. The body style is so appealing, it's so practical. You have a huge boot, and since this is the cross country, it's a bit more rugged than the regular offerings from Volvo. Let's see how this supremely capable vehicle is. Come to the looks of the Volvo. It's got the traditional family looks that the S90, the S60, the XC60 and the XC90 to an extent as well carry it really well. You've got the headlight design, which the people call it the most cliche line, the Thor headlight. It still looks so good. It came out of the market a few years ago, but I think it's still one of the prettiest designs on the road today. You have the chrome grille, and you have a lot of cladding that comes from the bumper, extends onto the fenders, onto the side skirts, and then onto the rear as well, because this is the cross country. If you buy the non-cross country, which I don't think the V90 is available anymore, only the V60 is, it's a very rugged look that Volvo is trying to put out with this, and it's also raised. So you can also notice that because this is the cross country, the ground clearance is higher, and you've got the bigger wheels, which is an option which again look really good. You do have some elements like the fog lights and all, which is so beautifully hidden, and I promise you there is a paint inside here. It's a brown color car which looks really good. It's covered by muck because we've been blessed with snow and it's very difficult to keep the car clean, but it's a very sober spec which I really like, and it blends into traffic really well. What can I say? Volvo has been the king of the wagons since the 80s and the 90s, and this is still taking the throne to the next level. When you come from the long side profile onto the rear, you realize that it's still got the same edgy design that Volvo wagons have had since many decades, and it's evolved over time, and I think it's one of the better looking rear ends you'll find on any vehicle on the road. You've got the same Volvo C-section taillights which look really good when they're lit up. You've got a whole lot of badging, so you've got the Space Dot Volvo V90 and B6, which shows what powertrain is in this vehicle. It just looks so good. You have some cladding that carries onto the rear bumper. You have cross country mentioned, embedded onto the rear cladding, which again is a very unique touch, and you know from far that this is just not a regular V60 or a V90. This is the V90 Cross Country. You've got a rear wiper as well, a mild rear spoiler as well, and you can actually open the rear tailgate and get an access to a very big boot. The loading lip isn't very high, so it's very easy to put stuff in, and it's about a 551 liter boot, so it can easily accommodate a few big suitcases, some small bags, basically all the stuff your family would ever want on a trip. I'm now inside the 2024 V90 Cross Country, and it's got the traditional family Volvo look in the inside as well, and that's no bad thing again. Their interiors are one of the best looking and one of the best built, I'd say, in the whole segment. You've got a lot of leather, some aluminium bits, and you've got this lovely wood trim as well on the center and in the center console as well, which just uplifts the whole ambience of the interior. You have the familiar 3-spoke steering with the cruise control buttons and the volume and seat track options. You have an all-digital gauge cluster as well, which has the Android Automotive built inside, so you have Google Maps built in. You need to get connected with this 10-inch screen, which has CarPlay, but it's only wired, no wireless CarPlay, and the touch is a bit laggy considering that the AC controls and everything are embedded into this. I wish that the responsiveness could have been a bit better. You do have some fabulous looking AC vents as well. The overall theme is very premium and very luxurious. I also do like the interior shade, this color, this tan interior. I really like it. The seats are very comfortable. You have a host of adjustments, so you have lumbar, upper lumbar, lower lumbar, and you also have under thigh support which can be extended electrically. You do not have massage seats though. At this price point you might want to expect that, but not a deal breaker. You do have a fantastic Bowers & Wilkins audio system which just sounds out of this world. But that's the case with every Volvo that has this, right? It's just so perfect. The vocals and the bass is so tight, so crisp. It makes hearing music such an amazing experience in this car. What can I say? It's got the traditional USPs that each Volvo has had since the last few years, and this one is no different. One special note also, this does have the special crystal gear lever as well, which is super cool, and it lights up at night as well, so that's an added bonus. Again, what can I say? Everything you feel and touch feels so premium, so nice, and you would love to spend countless hours behind the wheel in this vehicle. I'm now in the rear of the V90 Cross Country. As you can see, space is really not an issue. I'm wearing big boots today, but I can easily tuck in the boots under the seat as well. Knee room is not an issue. Under thigh support is good, and this seat is for my height at 5'8", so I have a lot of space. I have a lot of headroom as well. The panoramic glass lends in a lot of light as well, so it's very spacious, very welcoming for the passengers in the back. You do have the same wood aluminium in the back, and you do have the aluminium cutouts for the Bauer Wilkins, which is on the front door as well, which just looks so good. The whole tan theme inside is also very bright, very nice. The windows are decently big, and you do have manual sunshades as well, which is a great bonus. You have AC vents here, and you have AC vents on the pillar as well. You have a digital control to control the temperature, the heated seats, and the fan speed for the back as well. You do have a Type C port, and you do have nets behind the seat. One big downer, and I think it's visible on camera, is this very big transmission hump. That definitely makes the third passenger not very welcome. There is a headrest for the third passenger, but it would be way more uncomfortable to manage the legs because you do have people on the side as well. So the third passenger isn't the most welcome here. You do have a center armrest as well to lay your hands, and you have cup holders as well which slide out. Overall, it's very luxurious, very nice, and it's a car that has been thought for the driver, the passenger, and the rear passengers as well, because everybody would be supremely comfortable in this vehicle. I'm now behind the wheel of the 2024 Volvo V90 Cross Country. So let's get the numbers out of the way. This has a 2-liter turbocharged petrol engine coupled with a small electric mild hybrid motor. So that produces combined 297 horsepower. It's got an 8-speed torque converter automatic, as the start stop was on, but now it just turned the engine on. And the idle is a bit rough, so you can tell that the engine is on at all times. But let's see how this wagon drives. So slot the gear lever into drive, and I cannot emphasize how premium this gear lever feels. But once it's into drive and you set off, and you instantly feel that there is some throttle delay. So between you pressing the throttle and it moving off, there is a second delay, and that can get a bit annoying, if I can say that. In stop start traffic, you have to get used to the delay and how the throttle pedal works. Barring that, it's actually pretty good. There is no turbo lag. The gearbox works really well to keep the engine in the right revs. I am on some very bad slushy cross country roads because I am driving the cross country, so I thought why not test it here. And on these surfaces, the ride is sublime. It's impeccable. Honestly, you don't expect a car to ride so well, and it's running on these huge wheels with less sidewall, so you would expect that the ride could be a bit bumpy, a bit jittery, but you don't feel anything at all. It's a non-existent surface, but you cannot feel anything inside. That's how good the ride is. It's truly commendable how Volvo has tuned this suspension. I mean, it does have air suspension on its side, so that's always a bonus, but it still rides fabulously. The driving position is very car-like, so you do sit a bit higher, but you can see the whole bonnet. And judging and driving this car in tight spaces and parking is very easy because you do have a lot of sensors, cameras as well. So driving this car on a day-to-day basis is very easy. On turns like these, sweeping turns, the steering has great feedback. You can adjust the feedback, the weight of the steering through the infotainment, and that's the only thing you can adjust. There is no sport mode or just anything that would help you maybe have more fun. But standalone, the steering feel is pretty good. It weighs up pretty well, and it has decent feedback, so you know what the front wheels are doing at all times, especially on surfaces like this. I just crossed a bridge, a bump, and I really couldn't feel anything at all. The seats and the suspension soak it up so beautifully well. What can I say? It drives really well. The brake pedal feel is spot on, so you know what this car is going to do when you press the brake pedal, how much you need to press the brake pedal to stop. It's just perfect. I've been driving this car around for a week, and all I can say is that I have just been enjoying it every single moment I step out on the road with this. It just drives so car-like, but has all the attributes of an SUV, the ground clearance, so you never have to worry about scraping anywhere. It's just perfect. Honestly, for day-to-day driving, You don't need anything else aside from this stunning cross-country wagon. In conclusion, then, the 2024 Volvo V90 Cross Country. Well, I'm personally a big fan of the estate, the wagon body style, and after driving this for a week, I can understand why it's so popular in a variety of markets. Not the North American market, but the European markets, they still love the wagons. It's immensely practical. The boot is huge. Space inside in the cabin for passengers and driver is very, very good. The interior is built really well. The quality is top notch. Everything feels very, very premium. It drives really well as well. So since this is not an SUV, because of the lower center of gravity, it handles much more better, much more car-like, much more usable on a daily basis. What can I say? At around $77,000 Canadian for this V90 Cross Country top of the line variant, I would say it's fairly value for money, because in that price range you can only find SUVs, and honestly this can do everything an SUV would. It even has the ground clearance. Then why go for that SUV? Go for this wagon. In fact, go for this cross country wagon. That's what I would say. In fact, if I were in the market, I'd perhaps go for this V90 Cross Country instead of any other SUV.